Hello and welcome to the Tony Talks Texas Racing Podcast. Joined today again by my good friend Chance Rains. Chance, how we doing, buddy?
I'm doing good, Tony. Coming to you live from Lexington, Kentucky, in a red roof. But if I knew I was going to be recording a podcast when I booked this 3 weeks ago, I maybe wouldn't have booked a red roof. But
I
where
was
I'm
gonna say,
here,
is nothing better? Nothing better around town?
better. Priced me out a little bit, for
Ah,
sure. Yeah, I'm happy to be back. Thank you for having me back on talk about my selections, our selections for the Lone Star Millions, how they went, and just happy to be talking about some Texas racing.
yes sir, yes sir. All right, well, you want to just get right up into it with race one?
Yeah, especially because race one probably the happiest I was all day with this card. Who's my pick for the first race, getting to the line in first, winning by 3/4 of a length. Sat off of it, sat at fifth at the quarter pole and was able to come on win by 3/4 of a length over the one get back Joe. It felt like watching this race, not knowing how the other races played out. I thought maybe the rail would be weak, and then I thought as the card went on, the track felt like it was really fair based on where these horses were coming from to win. Uh, so yeah, I was really happy with race one because that was probably my best pick of the day.
Yeah, for sure. Me, not so much. My first timer Yalpon Yomo failed to do much of anything. Well, at least he broke. That's more than you can say about a couple of these Yalpons I've seen
Mm-hmm.
down here at Lone Star. At least he broke well enough. But he just really wasn't it on the day. He was just empty. Definitely needed that race and probably a couple more under his belt before I can see him really getting into anything too crazy. My second place selection, Get Back JoJo, ran for second, so I was happy enough about that. But I was pretty disappointed in Yomo's effort. Who's Foos, obviously was the class of the race and just took his numbers and he ran on for what was a pretty decent price. What was that? 3 to 1, 4,
Yeah,
like
around 3/1.
he was
Yeah,
like yeah around 3 to 1, 7 to 2.
yeah,
Yeah,
yeah. Paid out 860 to win, $31 exacta. That's a pretty good start to the day, in my opinion.
yeah, especially for what he was compared
Mm.
to Yomo who went off as the buck 70 favorite.
Yeah,
But yeah, I agree with you on thinking, how all the races played out. It was playing pretty fair throughout the whole day. Horses coming from out of it, horses leading. Didn't really seem like there was too much of a bias on post position either. It was pretty fair day.
yeah, I would agree with you on that in post position. I definitely kind of even distribution throughout the field in terms of who was winning from what post.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Race one was just that maiden special weight going 6.5 or just 6 furlongs on the dirt. So nothing too crazy there. Who's decent winner, but nothing that is going to be
Yeah.
writing home about.
Yeah. I do think if this one does run back next month, maybe I think the one in the right class would be ready to win. Out of two starts, both impressive efforts for hitting the money both times. So I mean, keep your eye on the one. Could be a winner next time out.
Yeah, yeah, no doubt. Well, let's go ahead and move on to race two, and another one where my second place horse, well, actually my horse I had for second ran up and won this race this time. But my top selection was the number 6. That was Happy Kiera, and I am 2 for 2 on picking the last place finisher in these races so far.
Yeah,
Uh,
I gotta join you on the last there too. I had Happy Kara and unfortunately didn't fire. Rated fifth at the quarter, sixth at the 3/8, and just drifted to last. Wide trip and just never showed the strength that we both thought she would show.
yeah, for sure. And Ray of Sunshine, the clash dropper coming from that maiden 12.5 out at Oaklawn Park. Just took that the whole way with Eric aboard. Just, just uh, 1 by 2 lengths, but pretty handily destroyed this field. Wasn't really ever any doubt coming up on the stretch.
Mhm. Yeah. Yeah. While a two length win may not look like impressive just looking at the numbers, I think the ability to take the lead at the top of the stretch and then not look back at all for the rest of the field says a lot that this horse was the class of the field in this race.
Yeah, yeah,
The six
yeah,
also had a slow break and a lot of trouble in that trip for the six. So maybe there are better days ahead for her. But for now, she's a last place finisher.
yeah. I didn't have too much else to say about that. Honestly, I liked Red Flat Pumps. She was leading the number 4 horse. She was leading out pretty much the whole way, and I'll be honest, at the top, I think it was what midway through the turn. I was like, well, she kind of looks like she's traveling real well, and then just quit. I say quit. Did
Yeah.
end up running fifth here, fourth here, um,
Mhm.
but just kind of yielded to all of the not latecomers, but all these ones that were kind of just sitting mid pack. And yeah,
Yeah. It
yeah,
was another race where a horse was able to sit third and then take the lead going into that turn, going into the far turn, going into the stretch. And honestly, if the Ford had been able to stick on, there would have been a few happy betters there as the longest price on the board. But the Ford was probably weaker for the speed she showed, and probably rightfully faded in the stretch.
yeah. Sounds right to me. Okay, well, let's move on to the first turf race, which was not on the turf. All the turf races, unfortunately, went off on this day. The dirt was fast, though, and we didn't get more than just a little sprinkle out the track. It was it was thunder and lightning, though. I was pretty sure they were gonna cancel the races, because it was, I mean, it was getting bad. Um, but the rain held off during the day, so luckily we were able to avoid any cancellations. But unfortunately, everything did come off the turf and onto the dirt.
Do
Um,
they have lights at Lone Star?
yeah, yeah, they have lights. We run
You
quarters.
guys, yeah, you could have just waited. Yeah, you could have just waited it out. Had some under the lights
No,
racing.
no, it get. I feel like it got worse as the day went on. Might even been.
Oh,
It might even been
okay.
worse. Uh, Fridays are under the lights. Yeah, Fridays are like first post time is
Okay.
6 p.m. So yeah, Fridays racing's
Those
under
are
the
always
lights.
pretty. Those are always pretty sick cards. I love watching Churchill Downs after dark.
Oh
Some of my
yeah,
favorite cards to watch in racing.
Thursday cards.
Under the lights is always a good time.
Yeah. Well, race 3. Did we both put up the 9 to win on that if it
I
came
think
off?
I did. I put up the 9 regardless, and yeah, that didn't show up well at all. I really thought there was more class to this horse, and she just kind of disappointed me.
Yeah. Yeah,
Well, respectable. Are we sure this race wasn't on turf because it finished like a turf
I
race?
right.
Everybody was within a few lengths of each other.
And then the one
It was pretty.
just made a huge run. I'll be honest, I was looking at the form like right after they broke, and maybe like 10 seconds into the race, I looked right back at the one after checking everything, and I was like, shoot. The one's gonna win.
Mhm.
And I,
Yeah. I think. I think the one would have been probably the best pick. It had it gone off the turf, but we were both hoping it would stay on. So I think we both dismissed the one
Yeah, and
by that notion.
I just was looking at the Will Rogers. The last three races of hers was coming from Will Rogers.
Hmm.
Of his was coming from Will Rogers, and obviously a lower level track, but I was way too quick to write that off as poor class. Where he obviously showed that he could do pretty good in this starter optional field here.
Yeah, I almost wonder if he would have gone out had it stayed on turf based on his seventh and 10th place finishes on the turf last August.
Yeah, it's definitely possible. Did you like anyone else in this race? I didn't really see anything else that I liked,
I
considering
had
the second and third place finishers were both like what 24, 30 to 1, whatever, crazy numbers.
Yeah, both 24 to 1, 25 to 1 roughly. I had my 12 unfortunately scratched out. I had the 12 as like my third choice. My 3 ended up finishing dead last. So disappointing race 3 for me.
Yeah, but
And
it was off the turf. I mean, what can you do, right?
yeah,
All right. Race 4 was our first stakes race of the card, the Memorial Day Sprint, and man, Mystic Lake, what happened?
that was what a stunner of a race.
I mean,
And
really,
something that a lot of us Thermal was 5 to 1 at the final post.
it was sitting
I believe she was
it was like 4, I think, like 7-2 maybe.
good price for the second favorite, and Mystic Lake did not have it today. Now, don't know if I could entirely tell you why. She definitely didn't get that easy lead and really just weakened in the stretch as Thermal romped her way to a massive win. Is
Yeah.
I don't not sure if maybe going too off a Lasix and then coming back onto Lasix affected something, but she's done that before and come back and won.
Yeah.
She was second in the vagrancy last out. I don't know if it was because she just couldn't get that uncontested lead or what the problem was here.
Yeah, I think Louis Saez just sent on thermal and just had this idea of I'm just not going to look back. I'm just going to run, and if they catch me, they catch me. And they sure did not catch him. Yeah, thermal
Well,
just
really,
ran off. Yeah,
really,
really.
who was gonna catch Thermal if not Mystic Lake? Who?
Eye candy
Like
apparently. I
I
mean, she came with that
Eye Candy was coming
late run.
fast, but
Yeah.
she didn't have enough time.
No, not at all.
There was not enough time for her. Maybe in a 7 for a long, Eye Candy would have maybe gotten beat by a neck in that race.
Dude,
No one was catching Thermal today,
thermal
I
won
don't
by
think.
8 lengths. No, nobody was catching thermal no matter what today.
Yeah.
Just yeah, Mystic Lake. Go back to the drawing board and maybe enter in a race with a little less pace on the front. Or maybe
Maybe.
Irad
Maybe.
send the horse, you know? I don't
Mhm.
know, man.
Yeah.
It's a horse that likes the
Yeah.
lead. Maybe you don't let the horse on your inside or on your outside just get ahead of you. I don't know. I'm not a jockey.
Yeah.
I
I,
shouldn't be speaking.
I mean, after the one gate wins races 2 and 3, you'd think Mystic Lake is a lock, and she went off 2 to 5, like she should win this race. Just disappointed. I don't know. She's been campaigned pretty hard since February. She's had some tough goes of it. Maybe this is time. Take a layoff. Come back late Saratoga, late Colonial Downs. Maybe try to come back at Parks where she won the Liberty Bell. Go for another win in the Liberty Bell. I don't know.
Yeah, I don't mind that at all. Just give her some time to rejuvenate, recuperate, and come
Mhm.
back with a fresher horse. But yeah,
Yeah.
I mean, thermal. That's all you can really say about this race. Thermal.
Yeah.
Right, well, let's go ahead and move on to race 5.
Yeah.
You go ahead and
Race
start this
5.
out.
And of course, car alarm goes off. Uh,
Beautiful Louisville
hopefully that didn't pick up
or Lexington.
Lexington. Yeah,
Beautiful Lexington.
yeah. Race 5, $20,000 claimer. Which was I had the one in this race, and the one ended up in second, beaten by his fellow mischief lover, Devil's Mischief. Only by a neck, though. It was a close race.
Yeah, it was
He,
close.
oh, yeah. Man of Mischief, he had the lead. Devil's Mischief ran down from third, which is three out of the first five races saw the horse in third hunt down the leader to win, which I thought would maybe solidify a trend and kind of just proves how fair the track was. That that wasn't necessarily the trend that stuck the rest of the day. Now, I mean, where you weren't going to make any money betting on Man of Mischief. He was really short odds.
Yeah, 3 to 5.
I mean, yeah, but I would have liked to seen him win just to justify my own opinion.
Yeah. Uh, my girlfriend actually picked the 6 when I was just showing her the form card. I was on the one. I scratched into the one after Camp Evans scratched out of this race. Um, but my girlfriend had a great line. She said that the 6 used his evil devil magic to win. I don't really know what that means. I'm sure she could explain it better. But evil devil magic won this race, apparently.
I'm gonna write that down on my form. Evil Devil Magic.
Yeah, be sure to look out for that on the
Look for
next race
that.
he comes
Yeah.
back. Make sure he's got
Yeah.
that evil devil magic aura coming around him.
Yeah. Make sure he's looking extra mean in the paddock, maybe.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, I mean it was Devil's Mischief and Man of Mischief. This was their race. The next horse was 4 lengths back and just didn't really do anything.
Yeah. Another example, another longest odds on the board hitting the wire in first.
Yeah, true. Yeah, the
Yeah, it was
odds are
definitely
pretty
a
close
good.
together. I mean, aside from
Um,
Man of Mischief,
yeah.
you know.
Yeah. Who's yeah. Obviously the well beaten speed the well deserved post time favorite as the speed of the race weakened in the end. Just he ran out of guts. That's all you can really say about him. He
Yep.
put up the fight that he could put up.
Yeah. I think my Camp Evans would have won this race pretty handily if he had stayed in. But
Mhm.
oh no, not Camp Evans. What am I talking about, dude? It was
I don't know.
no Camp Evans is in the other race. Who scratched out of this?
The four.
The
St.
4
Benji.
was Saint Benji. That's right. My bad. I think Saint Benji would have won this, um, if he had stayed in. But I digress.
Yeah. I think the 4 and the 7 I had were like my second and third choices. They both scratched out, so I ended up as a single with the 1, and that wouldn't have gotten me through any multi-race wagers, that's for sure.
No.
Uh I'm not sure if those scratches necessarily would have affected the race. I think the 7 maybe would have been the only other horse to have pushed the pace really.
Yeah. I
Not
can get
sure.
behind on that. But I don't
Not
think it would have really. I don't think if the
yeah,
7
I don't
stayed in,
think
I don't think it would have affected much. I think Devil's Mischief still would have
yeah.
been able to get the jump and run on by.
I agree. I think it was very clearly a two-horse race in this one.
Yeah. All right, you want to move on to race 6 now?
Oh yeah.
All right.
The $100,000 Chamberlain Bridge won by Surveillance and Lane Lucy. Uh, Unfortunately, this is another one where my picks did not fare too well. I was on the 4 and the 5 and the 4, who finished out of the money on this one as the race went 1-2-6. Another example of a race going to the horse, rating the pace behind the leaders and forcing his way in.
Yeah, and I
Very
mean,
close race. I think they all finished within. Yeah, they all finished within 4 lengths of each other, so they were all right in striking distance.
Yeah, I mean, surveillance, not surveillance, but usually wrong. Jackman's ride, and there was one other horse that was just right up pressing on the pace. It was Swasty. They were all just, they all just killed each other up on the front end, running a really quick pace, and then surveillance was just able to sit in behind and pick up the pieces for the win. I was, I'll tell you, I was kicking myself out of this after this because surveillance was entered into the Speightstown Sprint and would have raced in the Speightstown Sprint if this was ran on turf. But
Mhm.
he was the only dedicated dirt horse in this field, and I mean, I should have seen that coming. The fact that they decided to stay in here meant that they knew they had a real good chance to win this race.
Mhm.
And
Yeah, that's another one where the selections when you get to the track and you look at the conditions and it's the worst case scenario. Making pivots on what you're going to do on a card is really important based on the track conditions.
yeah,
We would have loved to seen turf racing Memorial Day, but we got to play the cards we're dealt, and surveillance staying in this race kind of kind of showed that Tristan Ashford knew what he was doing, keeping him on race 6.
yeah, no doubt. And surveillance, the 9-year-old, still winning races at his elevated age, doing it well.
Yeah, pour one out for the old boys for sure.
Yeah, man, I was really disappointed and usually wrong. I thought that he was gonna get a real good, in behind sort of trip, kind of let Jackman's ride and the Swasty horse kind of send up, and then he'd be sitting in that little surveillance spot, just in behind, and then swinging on by. But he just tried to shoot up with the pace and got punished for it.
Yeah, I was disappointed and usually wrong with his form over both surfaces. He just pace didn't work out for him today, and I thought he'd be more versatile to sit back and not make that pace as hot as it was. Unfortunately, that's not what happened, and he ended up paying for it in the end.
Yep. Alrighty. Well, let's move on to race 7, which was the allowance optional claimer, 15,000, going 6 furlongs. And I had the 5, Camp Evans. This is the Camp Evans I was talking about, who I thought was
Yeah,
going to sit in a good, sort of the same trip that a bunch of these other horses have gotten so far. Was going to sit in that good in behind trip and then, just take off the rail and kick on late, but he was just empty. Your
yeah,
eventual favorite, the 10, just had a really good run, sitting just off the pace, and was just really classy down the lane to hold on for that win.
yeah. The 10, I definitely paid dividends to note that the 10 was going to be one that sat off the pace. However, I mean, not sat off the pace to make the pace and be that forwardly placed horse. Wasn't necessarily expecting the 8 to go as hard early as he did, but the 8 didn't have enough gas in the tank to sustain that run. 10 was able to take advantage of it. My long shot 7 that I had pegged as that other horse that could make the pace. He ended up coming late on this race to get
Mm-hmm.
third, which I wasn't expect. I expected him to either fire to the front or just never be a factor. So I'm proud of him getting third, making that long shot pay a little bit of something. Yeah, the 10, kind of the obvious speed and the obvious winner here, deserving post time favorite, and nothing really talking about the way this one played out
Yeah.
in terms of who ended up winning.
Yeah. I don't know. I just thought Camp Evans, Jose Ortiz would elevate him in this race, and just was not able to get it done. But not much else to be said about that. To be fair, um, you know, it is what it
Mhm.
is.
That's true. Well, there's this 8 real quick. Yeah. 8 being so forwardly placed, it's something he's done before. I didn't expect him to be able to do that in this race, which I guess it really helped the 10 because the 10 didn't have to be out there cutting the wind for everybody else. So,
Another Diodora horse in that 8.
mhm. Yeah,
Diodora had a really good day. I
he
mean,
did.
a really good day.
Yeah, we'll be
That
talking about
form,
him later.
yeah, that form line with him and Giovanni Franco. I mean, just
That paid at the end.
yeah, yeah, no kidding. All right, well, we're just cruising on through here. Let's go ahead and get to the Texas Derby race 8. And I got way too cute here.
I think he did, yeah. I mean, you saw there was one horse. Oh, I don't remember who it was. Let me check the
Vintage Cowboy.
one horse tried to. I think yeah, one horse really leaned on the 5 for a little while there, and he just fell away almost instantly. Desert Gate romped home, showing that he may not be the horse we thought he was when he was a 2-year-old. To be a monster competing with the likes of the top of his division, he's still a good horse in his own right, and very much proved his class today.
Yeah,
But
yeah,
yeah,
and
you got too cute with the pace scenario on this one
yeah, way too.
because I remember you said that they were gonna send 2 of them to set up for the third Asmussen horse, and he just he fended off that first challenger, and nobody ever really got close to him again.
Yeah, I felt decently vindicated when they sent Vintage Cowboy, and I thought Zalaro was going to be a lot closer up. I mean, he sat third, but you know, obviously he did not get.
Never close enough to make him.
Yeah,
Never close enough to really put
mm,
any pressure on Desert Gate.
yeah, exactly. But again, maximum effort did come from off the pace more so than these other horses, and made that run. Um, Ultimately in finishing third. My top selection, Chad Allen, did run up for second after getting a pretty decent trip from the back, passing all the cheap speed up front, and then I mean there wasn't really much else in terms of class. Avery Place was pretty disappointing, finishing as far behind as he did. I thought he was gonna do better coming off the pace, but there was a lot. I mean, there's only so many horses you can pass in a 6-horse field, right?
True. Doesn't help when one is half the straightaway ahead of you when you're trying to pass them.
Yeah, no kidding.
Can't do much about that.
No, 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 no. Yeah. Desert Gate,
Yeah.
good horse. I expect to see him, up at Oaklawn and Churchill running in these probably grade 3 or listed kind of stakes races, building up his pedigree. Hey,
I don't,
he could turn out to be a really good, maybe a Breeders' Cup Dirt Miler, um, coming up in his 4-year-old career, but
that's true. Because when you mention like the Miler division, I'm like my brain's blanking on who the monster is in that division. Because Cornucopian will probably go to the sprint.
yeah.
And like Baffert will mainly be targeting the sprint with a lot of his runners. So maybe Desert Gate does become that middle distance type horse
Yeah.
for Baffert's barn.
I mean, he's got Nisos. Is Nisos still running?
Oh, right. That's who I was trying to think of. I haven't. What happened to him after Saudi Cup? Have we seen him since? I don't think we have.
I don't believe
I'm gonna
so.
pull this one. I'm gonna pull this up. I don't think. Yeah, He was definitely a deserving second place, clearly the second best too Forever Young. And no, we've not seen him since Saudi Cup.
Yeah.
I mean, but he's gone. He's done this before, where he shelved Nisos for lengths, periods of time where like he could be in a 6 feet deep somewhere and He's not going to tell us.
Right. Yep. And then what? Citizen Bull was the other one. Isn't he retired though?
Yeah, he's in stud. Which,
Yeah.
oh my gosh, that was so to run second, to almost give Juan Hernandez his first Breeders' Cup win, to run second in the mile to Nisos, and then get sent to the shed. I was so sad. I'm a big Citizen Bull fan. I wanted to see him have a 4-year-old season. He should have had a 4-year-old season. He wasn't good enough to be sent to stud at 3.
Oh well. Hey, maybe you get proven wrong.
Yeah.
Maybe he's the next into
I mean,
mischief. Who knows?
I if he goes on and carries the into mischief tree on his back, I'd be really happy with that. I'm just not sure he's going to do that. I don't know. Maybe he finds a niche as a really good 2-year-old sire. His best runs were when he was a 2-year-old. So,
Yeah.
but let's work our way back to Texas, shall we?
Yeah. Yeah. Fair enough. Uh, long enough tangent. All right, race 9.
Yeah.
Go for it.
25,000 claiming. Completely missed this one here. With the 1 taking the win over the 14, which I believe you were on the 14, I
Yep, that
believe.
was my top
Zed.
selection.
Yeah,
Oh
got
man, I
nosed out
was
there at the end.
ah
Unfortunately, you had to be heartbroken.
the angle I was looking at. I was way up the stretch run, and the angle I was looking at on the monitor, I could have sworn Zed had won that race. Um, but then the camera went to the 1, and I was like, dang it.
Camera always seems to know, doesn't it?
Yeah, and I mean, after
Before
watching the
you go.
replay, it was a little bit more obvious that the 1 had won. But I mean, it was a head bobber. It was a head bobber.
Yeah, definitely, definitely great racing. Deep into this card. Uh, 1 going off as the favorite in this massive field. You kind of hope for more chaos when you see this many horses come to the gate, especially they came off turf, so you would expect maybe a smaller selection of horses here. But pretty good gate of runners, and I guess the favorite for a reason.
Yeah, and you
Sat for
you just got to
sorry,
think
you
that
can
6 pound weight difference must have made a real big difference.
oh
Lucky and
yeah.
Lawless was the 3-year-old, of course, so he got 6 pounds over Zed, and just getting bobbed out, just that nose must have. Just let's
Yeah.
let's bring his age back. Let's give him six
Yeah.
pounds off.
Yeah. He needed every pound off of that 6 pound grievance there
Yeah,
to get his nose down.
yeah. I was predicting he was going to be low in speed, and he didn't end up being that. There were, the winner sent up to the front as well with Zed, and Zed got out in front of him, up the backstretch pretty much, and was
Yeah.
leading,
I
and then he
mean,
then he lost the lead, and then he re-kicked. The 8 took the lead at one point down the stretch, and then he re-kicked, but then Lucky and Lawless re-kicked harder and won the race.
yeah, I would have loved to have seen the 8 find a little bit more and get to the wire. I had the 8 as my top selection. The Once they got down the backstretch a little ways, the top 3 didn't change except for talking amongst themselves for position. They stayed 1, 2, 3 for
Yeah,
the
the
entirety
whole race.
of the stretch.
I know
Yeah,
the whole race in itself. I mean, they were all 1, 2, 3 at different parts.
yeah, yeah. Uh,
Not much else to say about
yeah.
this race. I
Okay.
mean, it was the top 3. I know you liked Tori, and he was pretty disappointing in here.
Yeah, yeah. And the it was 8 and the 4 as well. The 4
Yeah,
didn't impress me as much as I thought he would.
yeah.
Neither of them were able to really kick on.
Yeah, I like the 4 more if it had actually stayed on the mud. But since we didn't get any rain, it was a fast dirt course, so that definitely changed some of my handicapping when I got there, and it wasn't actually muddy, and it was just fast.
Yeah, that fast dirt I think definitely threw some of my angles out of whack in terms of looking at tappet horses and grays, and definitely I think it definitely hurt me I think in this race and one of the races coming up that we'll
Yeah.
talk about.
Right. Well, let's go ahead and move on to the Spitestown Sprint, race 10. Irad getting his, was that his second win of the day? Yeah.
Yeah, I believe so.
Irad getting his second win of the day aboard Super Tuscan, the Saffy Joseph trainee. Just,
Yeah, very close finish
yeah.
in this one.
It,
Again, are we sure? Like, we sure that dirt was playing out like turf with the how close these finishes were. Usually, you see these dirt races, somebody who wins by 2 lengths, but a lot of photo finishes on the card, which had to make it exciting for the crowd at Lone Star.
oh yeah, there were some good cheers all throughout the day of racing. Irad made
That's great.
a great trip, getting Super Tuscan down to the rail and then kicking out into like the 3-4 path out in the stretch and just being able to push his horse on by. Booth,
Yeah, I
go ahead.
yeah. Let's talk about Booth. Let's talk about Booth and
Yeah.
clearly Booth has lost a little bit of his edge. I think we both went into this. We both went into Memorial Day hoping Booth would his old form again, be his old self, and to come in third in a race where he in maybe in the past would have been the strength of the field. It was disappointing. I think, and this is a trend we'll see. The last race, I think Booth has lost a step to his competition, which it's sad to say, but the results speak for themselves.
Yeah. I think making a later move was definitely the play here in this race at the very least, because For All Mankind came with a crazy late run, um, and almost beat Super Tuscan, but just didn't have enough space. I think Eric made his move a little bit too early on Booth. I think if he had conserved just a little bit more, he might have been able to push Booth up and then been able to hold on down the stretch. But I mean, I can't really disagree with you saying that he's lost a step relative to back when he was making his 4 win streak at Oaklawn. And yeah, I mean, I wanted to see him get back into some good form here, but unfortunately, it was not to be. Third place
Yeah,
though, third place is third place.
yeah.
But
You're in the money in that, so you're getting paid.
yeah, but definitely not what you would have liked him to do.
I had the box on this one. I had the try box. I didn't have the right order. I had 11-3-8. They came across the line 8-3-11. So a $94 box would have been a nice payout had I been able to put some money on it.
Not yet. Not yet. Hopefully soon.
We're
But
hoping, yeah.
yeah, we'll see.
We had multiple people in the group chats we're both in. Multiple people said they'd tune into Lone Star if they could start wagering on it.
Oh
So
yeah.
like there's hope that the people will come. Build it and they will come. Broadcast it and they will come.
Yeah. I mean, Lone Star used to be a pretty fun niche for a lot of people uh playing the Texas races on the ADWs. Obviously can't do that right now. But this podcast will keep you updated on any news we get about that. The next Texas Racing Commission meeting is in June. So hopefully they're trying to set it up to where maybe we're getting simulcasting back before Lone Star Showcase Day. I don't know. Keep tuned.
That'd be pretty,
Keep tuned for that.
that'd be pretty sweet. That would be pretty sweet to have before Showcase Day.
Yeah. Yeah. Not too much else to say about here. Um,
Yeah.
Irad obviously did not have any trouble coming over to Lone Star. He was able
Mhm.
to still ride pretty good, despite how
Yeah.
much I would have rathered him done well on Mystic Lake too. Um,
Hmm.
but not to rehash any old wounds. But
Yeah. It really felt like just going through it was like all the horses I wanted for chalk faltered and all the horses I wanted for prices didn't do anything. It's one of those days where you go against the chalk and you get beat, you try to take the chalk and you get beat. It was one of those days.
yeah, and it was when you went against the chalk, it was always the chalk that beat you, and your horse was like 20 to 1 or something. And he ran up for second by a nose. That's how it felt
Yep,
for me, at least.
exactly.
I
That's how
was
it felt for me all day.
I got so pissed at a few of these men, especially the next race. Not pissed, but I was mad. I was hopping.
I was watching Churchill Downs and I was having a dismal time playing Churchill Downs and I was like really hoping Lone Star would be like the bright spot of my Memorial Day and I kept getting the results from you, getting live updates and it's just was not a good day to have not a good day for me to have an opinion.
Yeah, yeah. Okay, well, let's go ahead and
Yeah,
move on
speaking
to
of bad
the.
opinions, let's go to the race 11.
Oh man, and another one where it was like the same with surveillance running in the Chamberlain Bridge. Viv staying in this race should have been the clearest sign in the world that Viv was loaded on the dirt. But I didn't
The
listen.
public definitely got that signal.
Yeah, yeah. Irad getting his
Went off
third win on the card with Viv. Just edging out my 7 Tizowiz. And man, I mean, they were running such slow fractions. It was a 25 to the quarter, and then like, what does it even say? It was,
49, 49.5,
yeah, 49 and a
almost a
half,
49.6.
49 and 3
Is
to the half.
dreadfully slow.
And I was so confident Tizowiz was winning that race, and she looked a winner off the turn. She was traveling real good, and it didn't look like any of the late runners were coming at her. But then here comes Irad up the rail, and gets the win in the final jumps. What'd you think about this race, Chance?
I mean, I agree with you. Definitely turned home looking like she was going to be a winner. Vivu flexed her class, and Irad got the trip he needed to get her up front. Kind of what I, kind of what I had thought when I looked at this card is, it was the two was definitely one of the classiest horses. I had the four, thinking that the four would like the dirt, even though he'd not shown necessarily that. I'm sorry, looking at the three, not the four.
You're
Even though she'd
good.
never started on the dirt, I had hope. I had hope for the four that her pedigree would really show out on the dirt. She didn't like it. She rated last the whole way. Vivu, and in that scenario, Vivuv was much clearly the best out of the rest of these horses. Had she lost this race, we would have been looking for what her excuse was. And it's probably a good thing she won this because now we don't have to.
Yeah, I suppose so. Yeah, I mean, you and a lot of people had that same opinion on Love You Anyway. Love You Anyway going off as
Hmm.
the second choice, pretty well bet down. I was kind of surprised that
Yes.
multiplication got bet down so much. What, 4-1, third choice?
Hmm.
And I thought multiplication was going to be the only danger to my 7 up on the pace, but kind of just let Deshaun, uh, Deshaun Parker and Tizowiz just sit up front and set those slow fractions and held on for third, but, you know, that was all multiplication could do.
Yeah. Yeah. That's where you definitely see when looking at a race like this, and you have stakes horses like Vuv who have competed at Keeneland, Churchill Downs, Kentucky Downs, Saratoga, when they've been at those high profile meets and maybe not performed the best, but they have wins in 80,000 allowance optionals, 100,000 allowance optionals. That the class is there, and when they're coming down to a track like Lone Star for a stakes race, they're facing horses who've been running for 30,000 claiming tags, horses who've been running for 20,000 claiming tags. That strength of the price tag is relevant in that scenario.
Yeah. Yeah, that's fair. You think Sharp does nitrogen with Viv and we're gonna see her running on the dirt for a few races here?
I mean, I
She's
don't
shown that
know.
she could do it.
Yeah, she's shown she can do it.
I mean,
That's her
closing.
first win on dirt, her second in the money finish. So, like, maybe she's a do it all. I definitely think a, a horse that could switch surfaces and, stay competitive, keep winning, that would be a very unique kind of superstar that we haven't seen because Nitrogen hasn't been back on turf since she made that start in the Alabama, not the Alabama, the race before that she won in the mud. We haven't seen Nitrogen go back to turf.
Yeah.
So to see a horse be able to like go back and forth between starts, not make one switch and then stay on that other surface, that would be a very unique type of star that I think would benefit the sport.
Yeah. I mean, I'd like to see it. Joe Sharp,
That would
if
be
you're listening, let's get it done. Come on, baby.
Joe Sharp. Listen to the second episode of this podcast. Would
Yeah,
be one of the wildest. I
I'm
mean,
I'm gonna
I have
DM
to
him.
ask
I'm gonna
somebody if
DM
they
him
can.
directly. You know, me and
Yeah.
him clearly best buds. He
Hey,
listens to every
you're best friends
episode.
with Steve Abs.
True,
You're
yeah.
best friends with Steve Asmussen now.
I
Maybe through him get Joe Sharp's number.
yeah, I got to meet Steve Asmussen. He was up at the track just meandering with all us degens standing up on the rail. And I got my picture taken with him right before they went off in the next race, the Steve Sexton Mile, Grade 3, Race 12. And I just said the quick couple words. I'm like, hey, I'm on Gigante, and he's like, hey, that's cool. And I got a picture with him. It was fun. He's a fun guy.
Yeah, I remember. Like one of the like defining memories I have from the Whitney is well, I think it was Disarm. It was the 6 in the Whitney last year. That was Steve Asmussen, and he saddled that horse right in front of me, out of the paddock barn, like underneath the tree at the Saratoga paddock, and I was like right in front of him. One of like the coolest things I've ever seen in my life.
Hell yeah.
But anyway, speaking of his horses, publisher unfortunately did not show up like I wanted him to. However, some of the other things I said on last week's podcast I think hold up.
Yeah, you're definitely
Como aboard,
vindicated about your touch upon a star opinion.
yeah, and Morabino Amoide, poor boy. I think he's just last place. I think maybe it's time to start looking for a retirement home and or a stud shed to put him in.
Yeah,
I don't know where. Maybe there's a shed open in Texas. Moide in Texas is a stud.
maybe. I'd think Louisiana would probably be the first pick, but that'd be pretty
Probably,
cool
yeah.
if he stayed in Texas. I don't
Yeah.
know.
Because Touch Upon a Star, he can't he as a gelding, Touch Upon a Star is not going to be doing much work in the shed for him.
No, not quite.
Yeah.
Uh,
But let's talk
yeah,
about heroic move getting his second Steve Sexton mile under his belt with a crazy five path move to come from way out of it to hit the wire. That was a crazy race.
yeah. He was ultra impressive getting that late move, coming from dead last, making a run with Gigante and Publisher, and just ultimately making the best decision, going 5, 6 wide there, and getting clear sailing down the lane.
Yeah, I can't help but wonder how much that kickback and traffic like affected the horses that wanted to come from off of it. Heroic move that having that wide draw and being able to make that decisive move paid off in the end. He showed he's more than he might be more than we thought he was. Even though he has struggled with recent form, I think he's shown he wants to be at Lone Star.
Yeah, no doubt. And the Diodoro Giovanni Franco connection, getting a big score here, up
Hey,
at 5-1.
yeah, their ROI is only going up.
Yeah, they're all, and their percentage, to be honest. I mean, what? How many?
Yep, they had two or three wins on the card.
Yeah,
Yeah,
yeah. We were wrong about Neo Equos. We we did not
yeah.
like Neo Equos, and he proved us wrong here.
We took him out back. And he made us eat our words on that one. I wasn't expecting him to do that at all. He rated really well, just beaten by that freak rally by Heroic, and I'm I'm like kind of like we said with Vivu. It could be another horse where both surfaces. I don't know what could all weather be next for Neo Equos. Safi Joseph trains a lot at Gulfstream, maybe.
Maybe. My Gigante, the number 8, he ran really well, but did not make the same move as Heroic move. Just Stuart Elliott decided to keep him inside and try and get a trip up through horses that were tiring late, but ultimately got into a little bit of trouble there. But I think he was kind of, I don't know, correct me if I'm wrong, but I think he had the best kick. Because, I mean, in that last furlong, he made up like 5 or 6 lengths, no, 4 or 5 lengths. And I think if he had the right, the right path up through, or if Stuart Elliott had decided to take him wide, like with Heroic Move, I think Gigante might have won this race. But, might have, close, only really matters in horseshoes and hand grenades.
That's very true. I think traffic was definitely a factor. He had to maybe whoa up and make some sideways moves, killed a little bit of his momentum. Wow, Heroic Move came out at the top of the stretch with a full head of steam and nothing in front of him. So I see what you're saying. Gigante was definitely live in this spot and just ran into some trouble. He had a really rough trip of it the entire way, but was able to pass a lot of horses to get in the money, which means we were justified in having him on our selections. Just unfortunately, he didn't have the luck in this race.
Yeah. After the podcast, I took another look at the card, and once I got down to Lone Star, took another look at it again. I'm like, I took off Komurimino Moide once I got there, and I just went full closers with Publisher, Heroic Move, and Gigante. Unfortunately, my pick 5 was killed pretty early, and was not able to make it all the way down there. It definitely got killed with Booth not finishing. He was a single for me.
Yeah, the old boys did not show up as the card went on, unfortunately. Oh, touch upon a star. Is it the Lasix? Does he just not like the air of Texas?
Yeah, it's
What
got
is
to
his
be.
problem?
He doesn't have that swamp air. He doesn't have that bayou air to
Oh
breathe
yeah,
in, and that's really the difference
that
maker.
market. Yeah,
It's like it. He's got a turbocharger inside of his body, but it only works if he breathes in air within the state borders of Louisiana. Nowhere else.
yeah. He's not catching all those fumes from Bourbon Street into his stall. That's the problem.
No, just Dallas,
Send him
Grand
back. Yeah.
Prairie.
Yeah. Yeah, send him back to Louisiana. And if I'm the governor of Louisiana, which I'm not, but hopefully he's another one like Joe Sharp who's also listening to this podcast. Um, don't let Touch Upon a Star ever leave Louisiana ever again. Keep him there.
Do you think they're gonna learn the lesson, or do you think they're gonna run him back here next year?
If he doesn't retire, I'm scared to find out.
I don't know, man. Well, send him back to
The
Louisiana
definition,
and let him win like 7 more races and another $1 million.
Let him go win another New Orleans Classic.
Yeah.
I mean, the definition of insanity is trying something over and over again, thinking you're getting a different result. And I think you have to have a little bit of that to be a horse player. So, to be anyone in horse racing, you have to have a little bit of insanity.
Hey, the
So,
result was
it's
different.
possible.
The result was different this year. He ran fourth instead of fifth.
Exactly. Compared to, what, a second 2 years ago?
And a second a year before that. Yeah.
Yeah. So the result changed, but ultimately it's not the result you want.
No. Well, it's the result I wanted. I didn't want him to win. I didn't like him at all.
Well, those connections definitely wanted him to win, but
Oh yeah.
history is a great teacher, and it taught us that Touch Upon a Star was not winning this race.
Taught us that a long time ago.
Yeah.
Well, that's the Memorial Day Million card. I mean, I had a lot of fun getting out to the Lone Star. Great crowd, great energy. I can't remember what the handle was, but I think it was 1.5 million, if I want to say correctly, and 1 million of that was on track. With I think it was only like 4,000 people in attendance, so it was some really good numbers. Some really good numbers on the betting and turning out there
Got
at
some
Lone
high
Star.
spenders there in Lone Star.
Well, to be fair, there was a $2,500 entry tournament, the
Oh,
Memorial
okay.
Day betting challenge that had I think
Okay. Is
100.
that
It had I think 103 participants. So
oh good.
2,500 bucks of that was from the tournament because you have to bet your whole bankroll.
Mhm. Makes sense. Did you get any of that tournament action?
Nah, dude, I ain't rich enough for that.
All right.
I
All
tried I
right.
tried some of the qualifiers, but you know, I was not able to get up there in the end.
Yeah, stick at it, man. You the tournament scene's bumping, so
I mean, honestly, that's kind of where betting's going right now. Is towards the tournament side.
yeah.
You don't. I mean, you're still affected by CAWs, but with the benefit of cash prize pools and seats to different
Mm.
tournaments, there's a lot more incentive to. There's a lot less of a negative impact of CAWs, except for you, maybe not winning the tournament because your horse got bet down to 1-5 when he was
Yeah.
5-1 going into the gate.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, those last minute odd switches, they burn you pretty bad. I was gonna say, does that tournament send anyone to the NHC or
Yeah, yeah.
to higher
It's
term?
it's got a NHC and BCBC
Oh, nice.
seats for.
Oh, both.
Yeah, I can't remember if I think it's top 8 or top 2 get BCBC seats, and then the 8 under get NHC seats. I want to say that's right.
Wait, do the top two get both or just the BCBC seats?
I think the top 2 get both.
Okay, I was about to say that feels kind of not fair to give them one and the rest the other.
I don't know
Makes sense.
if you're winning the Memorial Day Million betting challenge. I mean, you probably are already qualified for the NHC.
Definitely, definitely.
Yeah, the trophy's nice too. You get a etched crystal trophy for winning it.
Oh, etch Chris. Everything's bigger in Texas apparently, even the betting challenges.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Okay. Well, that was the Memorial Day Million card. Now we're gonna move on to a couple races at Churchill where we have Texas breds actually running in these. Um, our homegirl, Too Much Kiki, and a Texas bred by the name of Charlene's Dream, who you might remember winning the Beverly D, the Grade 2 at Colonial. But we're going to go ahead and start with the Shawnee Grade 2 at Churchill Downs, which is the race Too Much Kiki is in. Go ahead and kick us off here, Chance.
Yeah, too much Kiki. She's in a rough spot in this race. She's had a lot of very classy horses to go up against coming out of the 6 gate in a 7 horse field. She's got Splendora, the spectacular Maryland bred for Bob Baffert with the Frenchman Flavien Prat. and then Irad Ortiz Jr. on immersive with Brad Cox training onto her outside, she's going to be up against it right from the get go with a lot of very classy horses. Not to mention the rail Jin Jin, notorious for striking when you least expect it, and Majestic Oops, who ran third to the rest in peace Claret Barrett and Nitrogen in the Apple Blossom. Very classy, deep 7 horse field. She's going to be up against it. She's 15-1 on the morning line, but she's getting Jose Ortiz in the saddle, which I think is a point in her favor because Jose Ortiz can pick up the pieces of any race he's in. So,
And she will be coming from the back. There's no doubt. And there's a lot of pace in this race. I mean, Immersive is pace, Splendora pace, Jinjin pace, Miss Justify pace. I don't know. Could be a sneaky setup here. And Too Much Kiki has beaten Grade 1 winners before. Lakara came down to the ladies Houston Ladies Classic. She beat her. Ran fourth
I'm
in
going
that
to be
race, but
honest. I'm not going to discredit that accomplishment from Too Much Kiki beating Lakara. I've never liked Lakara. I didn't like her in the Oaks. I
you're gonna
didn't like
make
her in the Acorn.
you're gonna make Aqua
I
mad.
still don't like her.
Or is it
Oh yeah, I
yeah, or
know.
Dunk? I
It's
can't
not
remember.
hard to. No, it's Aqua. Aqua's the one who loves that horse, and it's not hard to make him mad.
No.
I've never liked Lucara, and she burned me in the Acorn, and I stuck by my opinion, and she kind of proved me right down the line. So, and then she kind of didn't she retire? She went
Yeah.
to the shed after the Houston, and then she won another race, and then vastly underperformed, and the connections all just kind of center to breeding.
Yep. Yeah. Pretty
So
much.
yeah, there was another note just looking through some of her shared competition. Horse named by the name of Moto, who has gone up against Too Much Kiki the last few starts and gotten the best of her. Won up to Laurel. I believe the skip pat would have been Preakness weekend.
Yep.
Got beat pretty handily in that. So I mean, the company she's been keeping has not exactly impressed. I will say that race was over 6 furlongs. This is a mile. This is 8.5 furlongs, mile and a 16th. Maybe something different. The biggest point in her favor is definitely Jose Ortiz getting the call from Brett Calhoun. And like you said, the pace scenario. But a year ago, if you had said that you expect the pace to fall apart and the back markers to come in, I would have definitely agreed with you. This meet at Churchill, I think the track is not playing like it was a year ago. That was crazy early fractions and just way too much front end speed that falls apart. I think Splendora and Immersive have opportunities to stick here. And Jinjin, I have a theory on Jinjin that she only wins when they change the rider, and they've kept Luis Saez since her win over Torpedo Anna at Keeneland in October. So like, I don't think she wins again until they get a new jockey for her. Nothing against Luis Saez. I think it's the horse.
Wow, you're right, dude. What the heck?
I know. I noticed that pattern when I was doing my handicapping for the Breeders' Cup, and I dismissed her out of the distaff, and I was right. I didn't get the distaff right at all, but I was right to dismiss her out of that race.
Wow, what an angle to have. That's certainly unique.
Yeah, that's one of the wildest patterns I think I've ever seen on any horse.
Yeah, the only part that doesn't back that up is McCarthy to Franco, but I mean, it holds up pretty well for these other ones. That's crazy.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, I don't know. It's probably just my bias talking, and I love Too Much Kiki. But I think she might be a. I think she's. I think she is. It's hard to say she's live. I think she could win it in some universe. I don't think that she is
I'm,
completely out of it.
yeah, I'm not just gonna throw her out. I mean, she's getting 118 weight. Splendora is getting 5 pounds, and Majestic Oops is getting getting 2 pounds. So is Jin Jin. Everybody else is at 118, so maybe the weight plays a little bit of a factor. That and Jose Ortiz, I think, are the two biggest bright spots for this horse. And I'm not saying she can't win. I'm just saying from between Splendor and Immersive, she's gonna have a tough time of it.
Yeah, let's not hold our breaths. But I'm gonna be rooting her home the whole way. And now we'll just roll into the very next race, race 7, the Mint Julep, grade 3. And our Texas bred here is Charlene's Dream, who I'm actually pretty high on her in this spot.
She's getting the Florent Garreau up in the saddle, which honestly, some that might be a point against her in this race. Uh, Definitely not in a bad spot, I would say. It's a turf route, so chaos is more likely in this one, in my opinion. Uh, you get a look at what you're up against, and getting Garreau versus having the top 5 riders in the country all in this race on other horses isn't a good look. She's currently 12 to 1 in the morning line, which there are horses that are vastly past that in terms of odds. There's 20 to 1, 15 to 1. So she's not completely pushed out of it from a odds perspective.
I'd like her from a pace scenario. She and I think it's the 9, Stylish Sue. Her and Stylish Sue are the only two real pace in this race. And Stylish Sue is actually entered in a grade 3 up at Woodbine. So if she ends up going there, we could just see Charlene's Dream being the lone speed in this race and taking them the whole way around. Her numbers definitely aren't out of it in this field at all, in my opinion. I mean, she's been running similar figures if you trust that sort of thing, in line with a lot of this field. And based on recent form from a lot of these horses, you know, really, I think she might be the only lone speed up on the rail and is going to get the shortest strip around and go gate to wire.
Who is the? You said it, and my brain like deleted it because I was looking at something else.
You're good.
Who's the horse that's entered in Woodbine?
Stylish Sue,
Okay, the 9.
the 9.
I
That's it.
mean, okay, if she's the inside speed and Stylish Sue is in Canada, which it'd be really nice to know that now as opposed to finding out the morning of. That's a different problem. If
Yeah.
she's the lone speed, I do like her. I do like her odds. I don't think the turf is as biased towards the back markers as it sometimes trends to be. So being the lone speed in a Kentucky turf race right now is definitely a good angle to look at and makes her live.
Yeah. Stylish Sue's
How much
last
do you trust
work.
Florent Garreau though?
Yeah, I trust him to go fast on the front.
Yeah,
I think, as much as much crap as I like to give Flo, um, and I don't really think he's a great jockey, but as much crap as I like to give him, he can sit on a good horse and the good horse can win. That is what I'll say about him. I think
that's
I
yeah,
think Charlene's Dream can get back to some good back form, some good back class here, and hold up on the speed, hold up on the pace, and hold up on the class.
yeah. I don't hate that angle at all. Early speed's always something good to look at in terms of handicapping. Like looking at this, like who are the threats in this race? Like maybe Proctor Street, although surprised I have to look at the. I don't have the PPs in front of me to see who has been jockeying Proctor Street. I thought that was Irad's horse.
No,
Maybe I'm wrong about that.
it's
Has
been
it been
T
Gaff's?
yeah, it's been T-Gaff for a while. Johnny V rode him
Okay,
back too.
that's okay. That's where I'm getting mixed up.
Yeah.
Yeah, sometimes they start switching horses and I get completely lost if I'm not looking at a form.
Right.
Like Proctor Street, maybe pin up Betty as like the two horses, Maduro 5-2 on the line. Like those are the three that are going to take the money early and probably be the threats. However, I don't think they're invincible.
Yeah. Yeah, definitely.
Oh,
Um, I'm gonna be playing a little cheeky Texas into Texas double, too much Kiki into Charlene stream, just to see, just to see if it hits. It's gonna pay if it hits, but just to
oh,
see if it
if
hits.
that hits, that hits like that's new shingles on your roof, man.
And I need those.
Yeah.
um, well, yeah. Oh yeah, and this is the reason why I want to talk about Charlene's dream. The connections aren't really much Texas. Steve Moger, the owner, Ed Moger Jr., the trainer, but the breeder. I don't really know how to say their last name, but Eric and Randy Moreau Sipier. Um, they're the owners of Centurion
Yeah.
Stud, who do just amazing work for the state of Texas, and they bring really quality mares and they breed them to really quality stallions, and then they have them be born in the state of Texas, and they really uplift this small little state bred program that we're running right now. I know they have a few mares in foal to horses like Cogburn. Um, there's a Cogburn. I think there's two Zandons, and who else? Who else was I thinking of? And a couple more Yaupons. But they get quality mares to quality stallions, and they breed quality Texas bred racehorses. They're a great team up there at Centurion Stud. Just wanted to give them a shout out. Uh, yeah, but that's gonna be all from me in this race. Did you have anything else you wanted to say?
Not really. Mint Julep, I think that might be as wide open as any of the races on this card.
No doubt. Well, all right, Chance. Thank you so much for joining me again here. I'd love to have you back
Yeah.
anytime.
All right. I'd love to come back anytime, man.
Yeah,
It's a blast talking Texas.
yes, sir. I'll keep you in touch. Maybe I can have you back on for Lone Star Showcase Day here coming up in sometime in June or July. Can't
Sounds good,
remember.
man. My June's pretty wide open, so I'd love to come back.
Maybe come down.
I don't I don't know, man. I gotta survive. I gotta survive Lexington, and then I gotta survive Saratoga for a week.
Nah,
I'm gonna be pretty pooped out.
ride a bike down. It's okay. Save you money.
Honest, that might not be the worst idea. Like if I didn't have to turn around and be places in July, like I'd consider it.
Well, all right. Thank you so much for joining me today, Chance. And I hope you have a
Thank
great
you for
evening.
having me.
Yes, sir. All right. See you later.
Yeah, we'll see you, man.
All right. Big shout out to Chance for joining me again up on this Tony Talks for Texas Racing Podcast Memorial Day Million recap. We're going to be coming back here in a second. All right. And we're back. All right. That took longer than I expected. So I was planning to do some horses that I'm looking forward to seeing this weekend at Lone Star, but I'm just going to do 2 races here instead of the full 5 that I was going to do initially just for time's sake. The first one is on Saturday, race 4, Colonel York, your Richard King Turf Stakes and Blue Bonnet Turf Stakes winner from this past season at Houston, is coming back to the Turf Mile here at Lone Star. Obviously he's liked going longer. with the Bluebonnet being a mile 16th and the Richard King being a mile and an eighth. But he's had some pretty good runs over the mile, and I think he's definitely a good shot in here in race 4, though there is some pretty good competition as he's coming up against horses like Point Proven. Tim Thornton's staying in Texas instead of going back to Louisiana. I guess there isn't much going on there this weekend. Yeah, Point Proven by Gunrunner. Decent enough horse. But I like Colonel York, our homeboy, Texas bred. And I think Stuart Elliott and Willis will be able to get this one done here in race 4 on Saturday. And finally, to wrap it up, I wanted to talk to you about race 9 on Saturday, which is a $33,000 maiden special weight going 6 furlongs on the turf. And we have two very, very interesting horses in here. The one, Ripcord, is a Justify. You know, your 2018 Triple Crown winner, Justify, out of a Ghost Sapper mare. I mean, what more could you like? What more could you like in breeding than that? But you could definitely like his 2 races more, as he's ran 9th in an effort at Ellis and 6th in a maiden special weight at Oaklawn. But the breeding is, the breeding's just crazy on this one, and he sold for $500,000 back in the phasing tipped in August back in 2024. Coming down here for Steve, Stuart Elliott aboard. Just look out for him. Keep an eye on him. Any $500,000 purchase is always good enough to look out for, in my opinion. And the other horse is the 8 rather, Time to Tell, who is a Not This Time out of a Street Sense mare, which immediately makes me think turf. But he's in here in a 6 furlong dirt effort, and trained by Steve Asmussen, owned by Winchell Thoroughbreds, and obviously Steve also thinks of him as a turf horse, as he's been working at Turfway Park on the all-weather track up there, I think for his entire... No, he switched from else, but the past 8 works have been up at Turfway Park on the all-weather track up there. Shut up, windows. I don't really think he runs in this spot. I don't really know why he's entered here. He was a $250,000 purchase in the Keeneland September sale 2024. I don't know if I don't really know why he's entered here, but if he does run, definitely look out. That's some regal breeding right there, even if it does kind of seem to be more of a turf breeding. But that's gonna be that's gonna be all for me today. Be sure to subscribe to the YouTube channel. I also got my RSS feed set up, so I'm on Apple Podcast and Spotify, so you don't have to keep a YouTube video up and open running out your battery this whole time. And yeah, thank you so much for listening to another episode of the Tony Talks Texas Racing Podcast. And I hope you have a great rest of your day, and hope to see you next time.